And we're back here on the Jazzmentl channel after a week off. And for those of you that wished me well on my brief vacation, thank you so much. The skiing was absolutely excellent. Had the best ski day ever at Mont Blanc, near Mont Tremblant. It was a perfectly sunny day. It was a bit cold, like minus 17 in the beginning, and then it got up to around minus 14. But I had some boot warmers, and my sister-in-law and I had a great ski day. So thank you for that. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Let me put a quick, I dug out a jazz Valentine's for you. So there you go. Happy Valentine's, jazzers. Hope you're having a great day. I know that many of you have Valentines in your life, and it's good to have that. I want to wish my wife, Nancy, a happy Valentine's Day, and her new dog. What's her name? Ginger. I keep getting her mixed up with the old dog named George, which we haven't. George passed away about 6 years ago, and we haven't had a dog since then. So anyway, happy Valentine's Day to Ginger. Going to give a quick shout out to many of you in the chat area. Thanks for showing up early. I noticed that Amadeo was here super early when I was setting up, and I wanted to say hi to you because I've been watching the Olympics from Italy, and it's been fun. The Canadians are doing okay. Italy's doing great. I mean, congratulations on all of the things that Italy's been doing. I've been watching many of the events, so yeah. Anyway, we didn't come here to talk about Valentine's or Italy and the Olympics, but I did want to just start off by greeting you. There is a lot to do today. First of all, the end reveal is going to be the perfect spot for a left-hand inner voice movement. One of the things that I think makes your jazz playing sound great is when you move inner voices, specifically in the left hand. That's what we're going to talk about at the end. So if you've got, or you need a reason to stick around to the end, there you go. I think it's going to be fun to learn that. I'm also going to post a link to the sheet music, which I'll do now, and then we'll do a quick sound check. Again, I haven't been around for a little bit, so I forget to do certain things, which is grab the link, which is here. And let me post that in the chat. And I will pin that. And so the download is there, pinned to the top of the chat. If you want to take a look at it quickly, it is Emily. And I've done a bit of reharmonization, but we're going to talk specifically about dominant 7th chords. Not just for this tune, but for lots of tunes. I think people miss opportunities, or players miss opportunities to realize how versatile dominant 7th chords are and how they make your playing sound great, because they need resolution and there's lots of dissonance you can put in there. And there is all kinds of different places to put these things, but it all depends on melody, and that's what we're going to learn today. Let's do a quick sound check. And by the way, for those of you that are going to grab the download, please let me know that you received it. I did test it this morning myself. Let's do a quick sound check. Let me know that you can hear the piano okay. And I'm going to play the tune Emily. And I'm going to give you some things to listen for. Depending on how this goes, and again, I've been away, so I haven't had a complete chance to work things out. But what I like to hear in this tune is block chords in specific places, listen for the rubato style probably at the beginning, and then we're going to get into more of a jazz waltz feel during the solo section, and then maybe we'll make our way back to the head. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go, but that's what I want you to listen for, and try to pick out inner voices and left hand dominant 7th chords if you can. Just kind of open your ears and listen for those things that turn our ear on its side a little bit. It is a fun tune to play. I've heard lots of examples of Bill Evans play this tune, and as we all know, I'm a big fan of Bill Evans, and I think I try to, at least in my own playing for many years, I tried to model my playing after certain players, and Bill Evans was one of those players. Now, eventually you gain your own voice, and I sound more like me than Bill Evans, but you get the idea, right? The idea of listening to great players is so that you can model your playing, not necessarily duplicate, but model. And so we can listen for some of Bill Evans' influences. Just before I play, just a quick shout out to, and I said hi to Amadeo earlier, but Lawrence and Lisa and Jack and Steve, Don, Shell, Pino, Tom, Rich, Philip. We've got lots of different places represented. I didn't catch everyone, and I'm not going to go down the complete list. But anyway, the chat area is where we hang out. If you're new here, please join the chat and tell us where you're from. And yeah, I'm going to play. Emily, let's open our ears, do some listening. Again, let me know. I haven't got, oh, someone did get the download. Lawrence got it. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. And other people got it as well. Okay, success on that. Good to hear. All right, let's play Emily, and let's have some fun with this. Listen along. Enjoy the music. And hello to you as well, Esther, and hi from Fargo. Yeah, Allison, good to see you here. Amodi showed up. Excellent. Claudio, Gerard, nice. Likes the choice of tempo. And Claudio says, beautiful version, thank you. Nice 3-6-2. 5 and drop voices. Yeah, I mean, some places there are opportunities to put drop 2 voices, which is kind of nice. And Rich says loves the song. Hopefully the sound is working for you. If you are on a cell phone, it's probably not the best listening experience, but hopefully you were able to catch the playing and enjoy it. I actually love playing this tune. I'm over the years have gotten this sort of love affair with jazz waltzes, and I love playing them throughout the year, even at Christmas time with different types of Christmas tunes. But anyway, I'm glad that I was able to play it for you. I might play it again today. I'm not sure. I might actually play My Funny Valentine. We'll take a vote on whether we want to do that or not. I didn't actually practice My Funny Valentine, but I thought it might be interesting if I played it, if we agreed to do that instead of another version of this tune. If we agreed to do it, maybe I could play it in a different key, just for fun, just to see how my transposition skills are working. Anyway, let's throw up the sheet music, and then we'll talk about what I wanted to talk about today, which is lots of things. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So the purpose of today's session, and I'm always looking for feedback from you in the chat area about whether we're heading in the right direction and whether you want any clarity on some of the things that I'm talking about. What I really wanted to deal with today was the use of 5/7 chords. And if you read my description that I sent out by email, they're very versatile chords. And when you play them, it's pretty standard in the left hand, kind of shell voicings, tritones, things like that. But the right hand is free to do certain things, except unless you're playing melody, which then helps dictate the chords that you're going to play, or at least the inversions or the upper structure triads or whatever extensions you use. You have to consider the melody, and that's one of the most important aspects. You can't just randomly throw out 5/7 chords and not give consideration to the melody. So that's really where I wanted to point you in that direction. It's when you hit a 5/7 chord, and there's many places to put them, even though that might not be written, you can always reharmonize using them. So let's go right off the top. Take a look at the first 8 bars. What it does is it takes the last 8 bars from the tune and puts them up front in this introduction. So, did I read a comment about ditto on My Funny Valentine? Yes, My Funny Valentine, any key you choose. Okay, well, I haven't taken a vote yet, but I'll count that as 2 votes. We'll talk about that later. Let's get back to where we're headed here. All right. So the very first chord is a C sharp half diminished 7th, and the melody is this. So we're not too concerned with voicing those chords, but that's where we're at. So here's your first opportunity for a chord. Now, this is the melody note. And so if you take a look at that note, it's the 7th of E7. So that right there limits you on what you can do. There's a lot of limitations with that. So the first thing that I would consider is if you're voicing an E7 flat 9 chord, just think of the diminished chord, which is this chord. So you've got your E7 chord, and then you've got flat 9, and then you've got the 3rd of the chord, the 5th of the chord, and back to the 7. Right? So you've got this diminished chord. So that's my first stop-off point. If you've got a 7th in the melody, consider this voicing. Now, the other thing you might want to do is you can run some inner voices on that. How would I best do this? Let me just play it. So what I would do is melody note and then play an E sus chord with a F sharp, which is the 9th, and then resolve that to the flat 9 and the 3rd, like this. So in context, it's like this. You hear that? It just makes a more interesting sound. Now, there are other things you can do with it, but I don't want to get too overly complicated. That's the first sort of idea when you have a 7th in the melody. Think the 7th and the flat 9, but put inner voices in there that move to it. And then melody. And then you've got this D7 chord, and the melody note is B, then it moves to F sharp and then D. That's the whole Emily, Emily, right? And so the best thing to do is think about, well, if we have the 6th in the melody, then the easiest thing to do to get a certain amount of dissonance is to make an upper structure triad out of that E chord, which is D7 sharp 11. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, sharp 11, and 13, or 6th in the melody. And it's a beautiful sort of dissonant voicing. Now, if you take out the 5th of the chord, it kind of sounds a little bit better. Why? Because you kind of have this major 7th in the middle of the chord. So just remove the 5th from the left hand and play this chord. So 1, 3, 7, 9, sharp 11, 13. Okay? So let's play it from the beginning. Hear that? And then the D7 flat 9, it depends on what you want to do, but what I like to do is I like to lead into the melody, which at A is a B natural. And the best note to lead into the 3rd of the G7, G major 7th chord is what we call the sharp 5. So the voicing would be this, an E flat minor chord over D7. Fun, right? Listen to the chord. And then resolve it. Okay, from the beginning. Let's see if there's any comments about that. No, just a couple of good mornings. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Ben? No questions yet. Okay. No worries. So just to recap, the melody dictates the chord that you play, and you're looking for the most interesting sound that you can make, keeping the melody intact. So let's play it one more time. So now we're back to the sixth in the melody. Take a look at bar. Well, let me make a screenshot because it's going to start to get a little dicey. Okay. So when we get back to this D7 chord, you might think the first inclination is to use the same voicing as this chord, but we're not going to do that. Even though the same melody note is in the melody, which is the sixth. So this is the sixth here, which is the B natural. So then instead of using sharp 11 chord, you might want to switch it up and use this voicing, which is a very different sound. Listen. And so what you have is you have a flat 9 and a sharp 5 and a 6 together. So the chord is D13 flat 9. You hear it? One more time. And what you want to do is keep that melody note there and then just try different voicings. Keeping them inside the melody note. And just pick one that you like. And you could play more than one. So for example, you could start with D sus, go to D7 with a flat 9. Okay, now we have different stuff going on here. Instead of picking on D, which is the dominant of G, we're going to do a subdominant, which is G13 flat 9. So the 13 is in the melody, so that's a given. And we're using actually the same voicing that we did for D7. 13 in the melody, 13 in the melody. Now, the only difference here that I would do is in the left hand, and I don't have the left hand written out here, but in the left hand, think about force. One of the tricks that I always use, especially when playing with a band, is avoiding roots. You don't really need them. Even when you're playing solo piano, you still don't need them. So think about a voicing that incorporates force. So this particular voicing includes the 13th of G7, the 9th of G7, and the 5th of G7, and then that frees up the right hand to kind of play the whole chord. So listen to this voicing. It contains some pretty cool, or you could play this, or this. So it's completely up to you. And you could switch the left hand. Okay? So again, the melody note is most important. Pick your chords based on that note. So then you get to the C major 7th chord, and then it's going to just kind of put this passing chord in here, which is F9. The reason why it's F9 is because you've got the G in the melody already. And so what I like to play there is when you have a 9th in the melody like that, I like to play a sharp 11 chord. So basically, it's a G triad over F7. Let's play those. Let's play A section up to there. it's when you go from the C major 7th to the F7 sharp 11 chord, it's a passing chord, the F7 sharp 11, but it should be dissonant in nature before you resolve. And then, interestingly enough, F7 is a B7 chord because it's a tritone substitution of B7, which then leads to the E major 7th chord. You could actually play a B7 chord there if you wanted to, like this. The only problem with it is that in terms of a B7 chord, you've got this note which is kind of difficult to deal with, which is the sharp 5. So you have to figure out a voicing that works. There's a good one. Okay. So whether you choose F7 sharp 11 or B7 with a 9th, flat 5, and sharp 5. Bit dissonant, right? Or this. Kind of sounds a little nicer, I think, with F7 sharp 11. Okay. Then we're into B section, which is, I think, really cool about this tune, is that we're switching into the key of E major. And then the first opportunity that we have to deal with the dominant 7th chord is here. But look where it is in the context of the melody. It's way down here, right? So you don't have a lot of choices here. So one of the things that I first think about when I'm way down on the piano like that is to think about inner voices. And there's no easier inner voice than the 9th to the flat 9. And the 4th to the 3rd of the chord. That sound right there is quintessential jazz piano harmony. That's one of the very first inner voice movements that you learn. The 4th goes to the 3rd, and the 9th falls to become the flat 9. And it's just a nice sound in the context of this tune because you can't use really thick voicings down here. It just sounds too muddy. So inner voices make up for that to make it interesting. So from B. Hear that? And then the next opportunity that we have, I'll get in a second. Just checking the questions. The insights into your inner voice motions are very interesting. Thank you, Jerry. Then we've got, this is really beautiful, but I missed some voicings. Please, is it possible to replay it slowly? Thanks in advance. I'm not sure which ones you're referring to, but what I would suggest is that you just watch the replay, and you can watch that at any time once this session is done. It's just in the live tab of the Jazzmentl YouTube channel, so you can check it out there. I will play it slowly, however, in just a moment, so that might cover that. On D7 and G7, both use the 6th. Yeah, I mean, the 6th is such an easy note to work with. It's the 6th or the 13th. If you can get it in there, it just makes a nice sound always, even if you have a sharp 11 or a flat 9. It kind of works with everything. So yeah, I definitely would try to incorporate the 6th of the chord as much as possible. And then Alan says, better to play the C7 rather than C7 in measure 13. I'm not sure what that means. Better to play the C7 rather than the C7 in major 13. Measure 13. Hang on. So I'm not sure what that means. You have to play the G major 7th chord or E minor 7 in measure 13. So if you could clarify your question a little bit, I'd appreciate that. Not exactly sure what you're referring to. All right, let's keep going. The next opportunity for dominant 7th is this A7 chord. Now, take a look at the melody note. It's an actual A. So that's limiting in and of itself. Once you put the root in the melody, your options become very limited. And what I learned is that in addition to playing low on the piano, when you've got limited options, no matter where you are on the piano, because it's a melody note, consider an inner voice movement as well. So what I like to do sometimes is E minor, and then in the left hand, go from the 13th to the sharp 5 to the natural 5. Like that. Actually, if you listen to Bill Evans play this tune, there's a recording of him playing this with the trio on YouTube. I can't remember where it is. Somewhere in Europe. And he actually does that. Interestingly enough, though, he starts the tune in the key of A and then modulates to G. So he's got this introduction, but in the introduction, he does use that inner voice movement in that very same spot. Maybe not here, but closer to the end of the tune. So from B, and it contrasts with the melody. And there's that D sharp 5 chord, D7 sharp 5 flat 9, where you've got E flat minor over D7. It's just E flat minor in root position. So let's go from A. I didn't mention that before, but what you could do is you could go G sus to G 13 flat 9. You get a little bit of movement. So F7 sharp 11 or B7 9 flat 5. Sounds beautiful. Let's do it from the very beginning now. And then there's a repeat. So I'm going to take a new screenshot and move the board up a little bit, if I can. How do I do that? I think that was successful. So now we're on to C section. Got another vote from My Funny Valentine. I just, because it's Valentine's Day, I guess, and everybody wants to hear the tune. It'll be interesting because, you know, I haven't played it, so we'll see what comes out. I meant C6 instead of C7. I still don't understand, Alan. I meant C major 6 rather than C major 7. Where? But you said 13, but it's not 13. You mean 13 starting from A? Hang on. Maybe that's what you meant. So A, no, that doesn't make sense. So it's actually measure 13, but that's a G major 7th chord. I don't understand. I'm struggling with it. Maybe senior's moment, not sure. Oh, wait. Do you mean bar 15? 2 bars before B, is that where you mean? So you've got C major 7. Is that where you mean? Yes, C major 7th to F7 to F9. I think that's bar 15 that you're referring to. And I'm also looking for clarification on what you mean by that, like better to play it, meaning why? Be specific. Thank you. I vote for both tunes, says Jerry. Maybe if we have time, we can play both. I'm not sure. Alan says in measure 13. So in measure 13, I have got a G major 7th chord, not a C major 7. Is that what you wrote? No, you wrote C major 7. I think it's bar 15 you're referring to. Right? Because there's like 8 measures in A, so 13 would put, measure 13 would put G major 7. So yeah, anyway. Okay. I'm going to let that one go for now. Apparently, I already have several My Funny Valentine vids. Play Emily Uptempo. Okay, I will. Okay, so now Alan says, yeah, I'm going to try one more time. Please, in measure 15, isn't it cooler to play C major 7 rather than C major? Because it then permits going to the F7 sharp 11 chord with inner voices. Yeah. Okay. So definitely, if I'm way down here on the piano, the melody note at measure 15, not 13, is the 5th of the chord. I'm going to play this voicing, which is fourths. So you got the 3rd, the 13th, the 9th, and the 5th, like that. And then if you want to move to F7, you can drop the 3rd of C, which is inner voice, right, to the F7 chord. And I like F major, I like F7 sharp 11 there. I'm trying to think of what else I could do. I like B major 7, B7 as well. You could do both. Okay. Thanks for the question. I'm glad we got to that. I agree. Definitely C major 7. I would take it a step further though and put the 13th in there, but play fourths. This, right? That voicing. Okay. Alan's very sorry for the typos. Are you using the hunt and peck method? Why do you think that Bill Evans chose to play Emily in G when it is often in C? Example, real book. Is it? Not sure. I didn't actually look at the real book. I just wrote it out. Well, like I said before, one of the recordings that if you just type in Emily Bill Evans into YouTube, one of the recordings you'll see is a black and white recording of him playing with his trio, and he starts the rubato section in the key of A. So instead of like this is like this. Which I think is quite interesting. And he does, the way he modulates it at the end to get to G is kind of cool. So yeah, check that out. Why does he do it? I don't know. Why does any piano player pick keys? It just sounds good to the ear. I often do that, right? I'll run a tune in a couple of different keys in order to pull out the full sound of that particular song. Depends on where the melody is as well, which kind of dictates what key you choose and where it is on the piano, whatever sounds best. Definitely for me, if melodies are contained within here, I would say this G to this G. If your melody's in here, in this section, then you can always sort of figure out what key sounds best just by kind of messing around with any of the keys that are in there. Why can't I download and print sheet music while you do the lesson? Such a shame. Always have before. I'm not sure. Lots of people were able to download it. I'm not sure why you can't. Did you actually fill out the form and you just haven't received the email yet? A lot of times what you should do in those particular cases, if you want to get the download during the session, use a different email address, because somehow you might have unsubscribed yourself and you cannot resubscribe. And so the system, if you use the same email address and you're either on a do not send list or on unsubscribe or whatever, some of these things just happen and you may not get it. So try a different email address. Maybe that'll work. I'm not sure. Alan, I get so excited with your magical voicings that I make typos trying to ask a question. I appreciate that. Thank you. Alan, you always have great questions. It's just sometimes we never get to the bottom of it quickly. He played it in G for the motion picture, The Americanization of Emily. Yeah, but I'm sure the film producers didn't go, you must play it in G. Like, there was a reason why he chose it. I think it just sounds good. There is a complete transcription in the Bill Evans Omni book. Okay, cool. Nice to know. I had no problems in downloading at the very beginning of the session. Yeah, other people had no issues with the download. So yeah, just pick a different email address and you should be fine. If you didn't get it right away, that's the only thing I can think of. All right. That was a lot of data. I'm going to, where am I going now? So we're at C section. Let's play it at C. Just make sure you can see that on your screen. Yeah. So we're at C. So G major 7, which is just a repeat. Sometimes what I like to do with the melody too is I like to play a little bit of like ghost notes, like these notes. So A to B flat to E to B. So here's an interesting situation where the D, and again, melody always dictates what you do here. The D is held over to this bar. So, and then you get to this note, which is the 7th of the chord. The voicing that I would pick there is sharp 11, but it doesn't include the 13th. Because it's just a cool sound, right? So instead of the B natural, it's actually this note, which is the 7th. So, or you could do tritone substitution on that, but you've got the 3rd of A flat. You could do a voicing like this, like B flat over A flat 7. And And then when you get to here, I didn't really want to talk about this too much, but if you get to these notes here, this is the perfect place for drop 2. Especially when it just goes up the scale, right? So like this. Something like that. Not really a chance to use 6th diminished, but you could. Yeah, it works too. Interestingly enough about this G7 chord, which comes next, you've got the 3rd in the melody. So at that particular case, I would just throw force in the left hand. Because if you throw chords up here, sometimes it sounds a little muddy. You can search around for things. You could play 6ths. And then you've got this B7 chord with the 5th in the melody. What I would do is play the note and then play the chord. So like a B7 with a flat 9. Okay? C. When a melody does that, by the way, to make the melody clearer, just play it by itself. And I think that's why I did that there. And then arpeggiate, right? So this is interesting. I actually wrote the voicing in here. So F sharp 7, flat 9, flat 13. Why? Because the flat 13 is in the melody and then flat 9 is the 5th. Just play the tritone in the left hand. It sounds nice, right? Now, here's the perfect opportunity for inner voice movement. So you got B minor 7th to E7, and then you got A minor 7th to D7. So that's basically 3, 6, 2, 5, and the melody gives you the opportunity to kind of like reflect it and play what I call and answer. So the melody is answer. So this is call, right? Call, answer. And then we're back to where we started. So let's play it from D. Actually, let's play it from C. Beautiful. What a great tune, yes? Steve says, absolutely beautiful, thank you. I had no problems in downloading it. Oh, we already had that comment. Okay, let me play the tune one more time. I had a request for Uptempo. We have lots of time. It's currently only 11:52 my time, so 8 minutes remain, and we sometimes go over, and we may do that, and then we'll do end reveal. So let me play this tune a little uptempo, and then we'll see how that goes. Stick around because there's more to come. Hey, Susanna, joining from Spain. Glad you could join us. I know it's a little bit late, but thank you for the suggestion to play a little bit up-tempo. Can't remember who made that suggestion, but there you go. And then we had lots of requests for My Funny Valentine. And by the way, Suzanne, if you want to watch the entire live stream, all you have to do is, when this is done, just go to the live section. Well, it's the same video, just refresh the page, and it should start at the very beginning. So in case you missed it. Okay, so My Funny Valentine, I'm not sure what key I'm going to play this in. Give me a second. Rich says, Paul has a great transcript of My Funny Valentine if you want to check it out. Yeah, you can go to the jazzmentl.com website and find that transcription there. Not too sure how many choruses it is, but it's there for sure. Thank you for pointing that out. Savor Paul's beautiful voicings in Emily when played up-tempo. It's like gulping down a bottle of fine wine. Yeah, thank you. Very kind of you all, by the way, for your lovely comments. Hope everybody's going to have a great Valentine's Day. Let's do end reveal. The perfect spot for a left-hand inner voice movement. I actually pointed this out during the live stream, but I want to be a little bit clearer on it. So when you get to a 2, so this is a secondary dominant chord. So in the key of G, if you get to an A7 chord, when you do that, you can make your inner voice movement starting from the 13th to the sharp 5 to the natural 5. So when we did this, so we got 6th to 2, dominant 7th. But you can do that in lots of tunes, in lots of places. So think 2-7 or 2 dominant 7th, so it's a secondary dominant. In that particular instance, let your mind shift to that inner voice movement. Again, 13, sharp 5, natural 5. And then going to 2. And then you could do it again on the D7 chord if you wanted to, but it doesn't work nearly as well. Okay. So that's end reveal, and that's all I wanted to cover for today. Hope you enjoyed the music and hanging out with me on Saturday morning for me, and wherever you are in the world, afternoon, evening, nighttime, middle of the night, not sure. Appreciate you all hanging out. You make it fun for me. Great comments today, nice questions. I think we had a good time. If you want to watch the replay, please do so. If I could ask one simple little favor, when this thing is done, make a comment in the comments section. It helps us at Jazzmentl reach, or this particular video, it helps it reach an audience that's not here yet, that didn't show up live. And every comment that you make goes into the YouTube algorithm as engagement, and YouTube goes, yeah, people like it. Let's share it with other people. It makes it into suggested videos and other places. So there you go. Lots of browse videos features in YouTube that needs to be nurtured by the algorithm, and your help is always appreciated. Thanks for your time. Hope you had a good time. I did. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. For those of you that gave a shout out to Nancy, appreciate that. Got some interesting scans back this week for Nancy. I'll keep you posted on that. Not the greatest, but we're working on it. So, yeah. Shout out. For those of you that shout out to Nancy, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And that's it for today. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks for letting me take the last